This NFL free agency and just offseason in general has been a whirlwind. With the draft coming up, I wanted to go over the 5 angriest players in the NFL. Now, of course, there is an honorable mention, and this is Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, he just won a second Super Bowl in a row, so how angry could he be? Well, there is one reason why he's really angry, and that's Rashee Rice getting arrested. That is obviously very unsafe, but terrible for him, terrible for everybody involved in the crash, and terrible for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They've been trying to replace Tyreek Hill for a long time, and of course they're winning without Tyreek Hill, but at the same time, it's like, man, they thought they had a good receiver. He had 938 yards and 7 touchdowns last year as a rookie. And then against the Dolphins, he played extremely well and was a big part of why they won that game. Now, I think it's no secret the Kansas City Chiefs have to invest in a wide receiver with their first round pick. But, you know, when you do win Super Bowls, you get the last pick in the draft. So they do have number 32, and that means that it'll be a later pick. But still, Rashee Rice was a later pick, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. All right, now to the real list, okay? Getting Mahomes out of the way, that's not a real loser. Number 5 on the list is Aaron Jones. This is kind of a bad blood in division situation because he was playing for the Green Bay Packers. They didn't want to pay him what he was due, which was over $12 million. I think it was a $17 million hit on the cap. Instead, they try to get him to take a pay cut. He doesn't want to take a pay cut. I looked further into this, and he actually took a $5 million pay cut before last season, so you can't blame Aaron Jones for wanting to take and get his money. So the Packers decided we don't need him anymore. We're going to go in a different direction. So Aaron Jones ends up signing with the division rival Minnesota Vikings. He's got his skull chant going, and he's ready to go, and he's just mad that they gave up on him. Skull! If you're the Green Bay Packers, why did you give up on this man? Because if you look at his stats, the last 5 games of the season, 2 of them playoff games, he's averaging over 5 yards a carry. In some games, he's averaging 6 yards a carry. And this doesn't even take into account his receiving out of the backfield. He started the season slow, but that was because he was coming off a hamstring injury, and he really ramped up at the end of the season. But the Packers decided to go in another direction. They brought another big-name running back into the mix, and that's Josh Jacobs. Now, let's compare these guys just a little bit, a little battle of the back situation. Obviously, Aaron Jones is a little bit older. He's 29 versus Josh Jacobs 26, but look what they're paying him. On the left, you see Aaron Jones is making 1 year, $7 million with the Vikings. The Packers paid up for a Josh Jacobs who has a roller coaster type of career where he goes up and down and up. It's almost like every other year, Josh Jacobs is really great, and then he takes a step back. Last year, he wasn't his best. I think this year, maybe they're hoping he takes a step up. But as you can see, 4-year, $48 million. That's $12 million per year. That's a huge payment. And it's about the same amount of money that they would have paid Aaron Jones if he stayed. I don't know if Josh Jacobs is much better of a player at all. I really like Aaron Jones still, but there is that 3-year age gap, so it could be a long-term good deal. It just sucks that they have to play Aaron Jones twice a year. Okay, so we know Aaron Jones is angry. He's ready to take it out on his division rival. But at number 4, we have a guy that has not changed teams, a guy that's stayed put and is frustrated because his team has just gotten worse. They haven't done anything, and they are the big, bad Cowboys. I'm talking about Dak Prescott. He's looking like, Jerry, are you taking a nap? What's going on? Because everybody's doing stuff. The Eagles are getting better. The Commanders are getting better. They're going to have a top quarterback in this year's draft. And the Giants are the Giants. But if you're the Cowboys, you want to do something where you can really bump your franchise up to another level. You've been stuck in a Stephen A. Smith meme for over a decade. So I think it's about time you take that next step. But instead of being aggressive and really trying to push for some weapons or some assets, the Cowboys are doing the complete opposite. First off, they lost Tyron Smith to the Jets, their left tackle. They lost Tony Pollard to the Titans. And all of a sudden, you're looking like, okay, well, the offense is slightly worse. What about the defense? Well, it's worse. I mean, I know at the end of their playoff run, the defense fell apart. But in general, Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, was doing a great job and earned a head coaching job with the Commanders in the division based on how well he did with that Cowboys defense. Not only that, he brought a bunch of players from the Cowboys defense with him. So you're losing all your defensive guys. You're losing weapons on offense. The Cowboys feel like a team that went all in, kind of, the last few years and couldn't make the leap. They keep flopping in the playoffs, and now they're having to deal with not making it. It's almost like the NFC version of the Buffalo Bills, except the Bills had way more success in the playoffs versus the Cowboys, who pretty much flopped every single time. So Dak Prescott, you have every right to be angry, and you better hope that the Cowboys start being a little more aggressive this offseason. All right, number 3, Justin Fields. The Bears gave up on Justin Fields, and I don't blame them. He's shown flashes here and there, but I've seen him miss wide open receivers like 10 yards away from them, and they're only 10 yards away. So that's not very good, but he is electric, and maybe he just hasn't had the right system to really maximize his potential. We'll see with the Steelers. He is backing up Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson.
Mr. Unlimited. Yeah, you got to be unlimited.
We'll see what happens with that. Justin Fields, the Bears had to give up on him because Caleb Williams is that good of a prospect, but now they barely got anything for him in a trade. And then you're looking and you're thinking, okay, is this guy done? He went from fantasy football darling to bottom of the barrel. I went into this thinking, you know what, Justin Fields shows some promise. Maybe he'll even take that starting job away from Russell Wilson. And then I looked up his stats from last season. Compared to Russell Wilson, he played 2 less games, but I mean, Russell Wilson beat him in pretty much every category: completion percentage, passing yards, attempts, passing touchdowns, less interceptions, better passing rate. The only thing he really won in was being able to run, obviously, and Wilson can still run. Wilson last year was way better than Wilson 2 years ago, but at the same time, he's had Sean Payton for 2 years, and Sean Payton's the quarterback whisperer, and Fields, he had DJ Moore. It was supposed to be a much better team, Cole Kmet. And then you look and it's like, these are not good numbers. Offensive lines are different, of course, but I went into this research thinking, okay, I think Justin Fields will take the leap because he's much younger. He's got a little bit more potential. But then I look at the stats side by side and I'm just like, I don't know if Justin Fields is good enough to take that job. And I do believe that Fields will get some play time because, Wilson will struggle. But is he going to keep the job? Is he the long-term answer for the Steelers? I just don't know. I think the Bears dodged the bullet here. They didn't get much for him. They could have gotten more, but at the end of the day, if Caleb Williams pans out, it doesn't really matter. So we'll wait and see. Okay, we are at number 2. Now, a lot of people might think that this should be number 1, but I have a better number 1 in my opinion. So Justin Herbert, where did everybody go? What happened? This was a team that had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, one of the best offenses in the league. They're all gone. So as Justin Herbert's been still battling from that rib injury, because I don't believe he was 100% last season, and he's shown way too much potential to be kind of dropped in the rankings of quarterbacks. Everybody left him. I mean, who are their best receivers right now? They got pretty much nobody. At the end of the day, he needs help. And I think they need to address this in the draft. I wish they would have gotten a few more free agents. It just feels like a team, flopping in the wind. But the reason that he's not number 1, and this is a big reason, Jim Harbaugh, Mr. Dockers himself.
Since Jim started wearing Dockers, he's a whole new man.
Mommy, who's that?
That's your dad.
Mr. Dockers is coming in. He's, you know what? I turned around Alex Smith's career. I had the best years of Colin Kaepernick. Maybe, just maybe, I'm going to be able to turn you around as well and turn this team around. They need some weapons, for sure, but they need to get out of the Chiefs' shadow. I just don't think that Herbert's maxed out his potential. I think he should be a top 3-4 quarterback in the league. He's not there right now. Honestly, with nobody around and everybody leaving Herbert, it kind of reminds me of San Diego when the Chargers left. You're looking around like, where'd they go? You know what I mean? It's crazy. All right, before I get to number 1 on the list, please like and subscribe for more NFL content. I really, really do appreciate it, and it helps me out a bunch. Number 1, we got Devonte Adams. Yes, this is the most angry, the saddest, the player that needs the most love in the NFL. This guy, he was with Rodgers. They were doing their last dance, him and the Packers, and things have just not worked out for Devonte Adams. He's a great player, but he signed his deal with the wrong team. I mean, he went to go to play with the Raiders and play with his old college quarterback, Derek Carr. And sometimes when you move to Vegas, things might not end up the way you thought they were going to end up. You might lose your car. Who knows? And that's exactly what happened to Devonte Adams. He lost Derek Carr. He is not playing on a team that's really competitive right now. Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew are his quarterbacks. That's pretty sad. he's just not contending at all for literally anything, versus when he was with the Packers most of his career, he was consistently in the NFC title game or at least a high playoff spot. So Devonte Adams, I wish you the best. You are in a tough situation, and I know you're trying to do whatever you can to jet out of there. But at the end of the day, the Raiders aren't going to let you just move to New York and do that. Right now, he's stranded, and I mean literally stranded in Las Vegas.
He's in Vegas.
Shotgun.
All right, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see the opposite side of this conversation and the 5 happiest players in the NFL, click the link right here.